Hey guys, super interesting position for you. It's white to play and win, despite the fact that white only has one pawn and black has three pawns. White's pawn is going forward in this direction. Black's pawns are going down the board here. Before I say too much, I'll let you try to find the winning move for white. And for those of you who are interested, I will give an update on my health at the end of the video. If you'd like to stick around for that, you can. Not, you can just watch the puzzle and leave. All right, white to play and win. What do you think the move is? Well, if you had a chance to look at that, the winning move here is a7. And this is pretty obvious and makes a lot of sense, right? We're trying to get a queen. We want to create this threat so the black has to deal with it right away. And otherwise, our pawn was probably going to get captured. So that's kind of a logical move, right? So a7, black actually has three ways that they can stop us from getting a queen. Option number one is to come down here so that they can capture it that way. Option number two is to come over here so they could capture it this way. And option number three is that they can throw in this check and then deal with the pawn later. Okay, so all of these are black's viable options. So let's start with this one. They bring the rook down, trying to cut off the pawn this way. It's white to play and win. What's the winning move? You had a chance to look at that. The move is rook to f2, gaining control of the f file. Now, when you look at this position, you might not really think that the f file is so important. It looks like the a file is where everything is happening, and maybe the H file here with the king. But the F file is actually extremely important for the reason that we need to keep black's king stuck in the corner. You say, Nelson, what does the F file have to do with that? Well, let me show you. If you played a different move, like let's just say rook to c5, thinking that maybe you're threatening to capture this pawn, and if the rook tried to move, you could come over here and checkmate the king. It kind of makes sense, right? What black is going to do is play rook to f8 check. And by playing here, they force your king to move. And guess what? You no longer have any kind of checkmate threats. You can go there, but it's always just going to be a check, and a king can escape. So that is why the f file is so important. You can't allow black to do this, or you lose your options, essentially. Okay? So going back to here, now you can kind of see why rook to f2 is a very powerful move. You immediately take that away from black. Now, what else can black do? Well, the king can't move. King is stuck in the corner because of our rook and our king. The pawn can't move, or I'm just going to simply take it and start gobbling up the pawns, right? And if black tries to sneak over here, let's just say, and take our pawn, well, I'm still going to take it because I have the checkmate threat, okay? So basically what I'm trying to say is black can't move any of these, can't move the king. You have to move the rook somewhere. You also have to keep it along the back rank. There's not a lot of options for black, okay? So rook to a8 is really the move that makes sense, trying to grab the pawn. White to play and win. What's the winning move? Well, if you had a chance to look at that, the move is rook to f5. And now that we've got control of the f file, we can start attacking those other things that I mentioned because we don't have to worry about black's rook coming over here and chasing our king away. Okay? So for example, if black takes this to defend their pawn, they simply get checkmated because the king is stuck in the corner. And if they try to deal with the checkmate threat, maybe by coming here, well, we can simply, there's a couple of different ways we can do it. The easiest is just to get the queen because they can't take us because they still get checkmated, right? You can see the problem for black. So king to h2 is the only move, trying to escape the checkmate that way. White to play and win. What's the winning move? If you had a chance to look at that, the move is king to f2. And what we're doing is renewing that threat. And actually, I think you can even win this by simply capturing the pawn in this case. You don't even have to go there. You can actually just take this. And the reason is they don't have time to get their queen because we simply take, we gobble up all the pawns, and we win. Okay, so that's really the idea with that one. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning. We talked about rook to h8. The other way that black could try to do this is rook to a6 immediately, which looks like a better try because they immediately defend their pawn, and they also immediately put pressure on our pawn, and at the same time control the queening square. But again, we have a way to win. White to play and win. What's the winning move? Well, if you had a chance to look at that, the move is the amazing rook to c6, sacrificing the rook, because if black takes it, we get the queen, which pins the rook. Yes, they can push the pawn, but we take it with check, and next move is checkmate. Okay, really nice move. Now, some of you are probably wondering, Nelson, why can't we just go rook c8? Because we're threatening to get the queen like this, and we're also threatening checkmate over here. How is black going to deal with that? Like if they take this, we have checkmate, right? Isn't this also a win? The answer is no, it's not, because black will simply play the move king to h2. And yes, you can try to kind of mirror their king, but now they have this move, rook to f6 check, forcing us to move, and rook back to a6. And essentially what they did is they eliminated the checkmate threat. They're going to stop our pawn, and if we try to push it, watch what happens. Takes, a2, and now you can see how those tripled pawns are playing a role. We have no way to stop this from happening. We're just not in time. They're going to get a queen, right? We can't ever get there. Okay, so that's the point behind why we can't go rook to c8. We have to go rook to c6 to win in this position. All right. So the last thing that black could try is to say, you know what? Instead of going here or here, what I'm going to do first is throw in the check, force the king to move over, and then go about stopping the pawn. So if they play here, what should we play as white? We had a chance to look at that. The move is rook to f2. Because remember, we talked about it already, the importance of this f-file. We cannot allow black to force our king away and take away all of our checkmate threats later. We need to keep our king on the f-file so that black's king is stuck in the corner. Okay, so this is the only move. If you imagine if you try to just move over, well, black's going to simply now come back over here, and we don't have any threats like we did before, because any move that we might try to play, there's never going to be a checkmate threat over here. Okay, that's the problem. So rook to f2 is the move, and now black says, okay, I will now jump over to a6 and stop your pawn like this. Again, it's white to play and win. What should we play here? We had a chance to look at that. The move is rook to f8, and it's very similar to the idea before about trying to go to c8. But remember, before it didn't work because black's rook would come over and check us and force our king to move. But in this case, we've got control of that important f-file, so black doesn't have this move available. And what are they going to do? If they take the pawn, they're going to get checkmated over here. If they try to push this to get a queen, again, they're going to get checkmated over here. And if they, stop the checkmate like this, we get the queen. And so the only move for black is king to h2, trying to escape this way. So there's no longer a checkmate. So white to play. What's the winning move now? You had a chance to look at that. The move is king to f2. This is a very tricky move because you might have attempted to say, well, I'm going to get a queen. The problem is black says, thank you very much. And they push this pawn. And guess what? You have no way to stop the pawn again. Same problem that we saw in a previous line, right? Say, well, how does king to f2 solve our problem? Well, first of all, it threatens to checkmate again. So black has to, again, waste a move moving the king. But now we can get the queen. And when black takes and plays a2, we have a way to save the position that did not exist before. What's the winning move for white? You got a chance to look at that. It's rook to h8 check. And notice the big difference. Our king is no longer on f1. It's now on f2. And why does that matter? Because after black moves, guess what? We can take advantage of that. And we are in time to stop the pawn because our king is not blocking the rook. And yes, black can try to bring the king over, but they're too slow. We simply can come over here, gobble up all the pawns, and the black king is not in time. And this is a winning rook ending. Okay, so very interesting position there. There's actually a lot going on in this position, even though it looked kind of simple at the beginning. And one of the key features, like I already mentioned, was controlling this f-file, which is not something when I first looked at this puzzle that jumped out at me. I was kind of thinking about the pawn over here, getting the queen, thinking about the a-file a lot, and I didn't really understand the significance of keeping control of this f-file. And it just goes to show the importance when you have your opponent's king in a corner or on the edge of the board where you have checkmating opportunities. A lot of times that can change everything, right? And that's what we saw in this position. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. And now I will do a quick update on my health if you're interested in that. If not, I'll see you next time. Well, if you're still here, I'll go ahead and give you an update on my health. It's been a wild couple of days. So as many of you probably know, I had the blood clot initially, then I found out I had gout. Those were kind of the two big things. I ended up going to the ER again for the third time, I believe. Woke up kind of in the middle of the night. My legs were like shaking. They wouldn't stop shaking. I didn't know what was going on. Never felt anything like that before in my life. Was kind of freaking out a little bit. Went to the ER. Blood work was okay. And they said it was probably just anxiety, which, like, I didn't realize that could happen, like, in the middle of the night. Anyway, I am in the middle of still trying to figure out what all is going on. Haven't had a lot of energy. I did have COVID, which the more that I think about this, the more that I'm convinced that COVID kind of started all this stuff. The blood clot, the gout, just everything seemed to happen immediately after I think I had COVID. So I'm trying to put all the pieces together. Um, yeah, just in the middle of that. So if you don't see me posting videos very often, I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. So still appreciate prayers from everybody. I know a lot of people have said that they are praying for me, and I really do appreciate that. And I'll keep you guys posted as much as I can. But actually, last thing I want to say is if anybody's in the medical field, because I know that some doctors have already reached out to me with some helpful information. So I just wanted to say if somebody is a doctor watching this and you have maybe experience with gout, with DVT, blood clotting, or COVID, or a combination of those three things, um, I have some theories that I would love to like just kind of run by somebody who's more familiar with some of this stuff than me. If you are interested in hearing some of my theories and just want to talk to me a little bit about it, shoot me an email, justvibesyt@gmail.com. I would love to get some people's opinion on that. No pressure, of course. And if you're not medical, maybe don't email me unless you, for some reason, have some special knowledge about that. I don't want like just random people emailing me like stuff that they've Googled or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, so anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there. Selfishly, I would appreciate that if there are any doctors that watch my videos that want to do that. Anyway, to you guys, thanks.